yourself on the floor. When the man with the power and the dollar says you ain't worth a cent, and your wings won't fly and your words won't flow, you can't force a smile and they won't leave you alone. I see the light in you, let it shine again. 'Cause you were born for the fire, raised by the storm, brave but together, loud and fun. Heart full of country, soul full of grit. We don't run, we rise, and we don't quit. Oh, we don't run, we rise, and we don't quit. I know a woman with a lion's heart and a pretty blue dress with a shopping cart. Head full of dreams, gonna change the world. Got a body of work they say won't sell, and a way with words but she won't tell. I see the light in you, let it shine again. 'Cause you were born for the fire, raised by the storm, brave but together, loud and fun. Heart full of country, soul full of grit. We don't run, we rise, and we don't quit. Hey, we don't run, we rise, and we don't quit.
Raised by the storm, brave but together, loud and fun. Heart full of country, soul full of grit.
We don't.
Live. Here we go.
Meet your family. How are you today? Hopefully you're having a fantastic morning. Yeah. How are you, Michelle?
I'm doing good. There's a school board meeting later this morning, and it's always fun, you guys, if you get a chance to go to some of these local municipalities, whether it's your county commissioner or your school board meeting. Sometimes there's fireworks, sometimes it's boring, but either way, they're spending a ton of money. So you might as well go and
Go and listen. I mean, look, it is so important for us to be involved locally and making sure that we're watching, even if we're not attending
Yeah.
or watching or going through what has occurred, because they are live, they are recorded.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
whether it's your school board, your city council, or your county commission, or even your state house and senate committee hearings, these are so important for you to know and pay attention to, because it hits you faster locally than it would nationally. So making
true.
sure that we're plugged in and paying attention is so important. But thank you guys for joining
Joining us. Yes.
Out of Pocket with Ali and Michelle. We're happy to have you. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and tell all your friends about OOP.
Tell all your friends about OOP. Guys, today we're going to talk about the attacks that were planned and thwarted for UFC 250. That's just crazy. Nick Shirley is going into Illinois, so I wonder when they're going to pass legislation on stopping him. And Ali, you shared with me today JD Vance on The View.
Crazy. The View. I like to call it The View from the trash can, because essentially that's what it is. I'm interested to see how that went down. I've seen a little bit of it. Not surprised, but
I mean,
when you're faced against facts, it's hard for people to really argue. But when your mind is made up, it's just made up. So
yeah, when there's that syndrome, you can't help it. But he is a gentleman, so I can't wait to hear what he had to say. So
yeah.
all right.
We'll see. All right, let's get into it. Let's open that mic and get out of pocket.
Two queens, no filter, say what they feel. Ali and Michelle keep it way too real. Politics, family, yeah, we go there. If it's out of line, we don't care. It's out of pocket. It's out of pocket.
Thank you to our Talk Red family for, I don't know, sometimes I just feel like putting up with us, but I know we love them. They love us. And so we're just grateful. Guys, make sure you, as Ali said, like, share, and subscribe. And we'll get to a little bit more later in this hour about how you can help support Out of Pocket ladies with a good old cigar as well.
All of the celebrations we're going to need moving forward. It's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. Well, Ali, as we talked here on the show about all the wonderful things that happened outside the White House with UFC 250, I didn't, this is the thing, guys. I don't know that this is going on behind the scenes all the time. This came out, says the United States prevented an alleged explosive drone plot threatening the UFC event. This is coming out from
Mm.
Hotel. This is the
Interesting.
thing about the drones that my mind
We
can't
were
wrap
talking
around.
about, remember when we were in the Capitol and we were advocating
DC.
against the Save America, Save Our Bacon Act,
Yes.
and we had a few of our farmers that flew in was talking about these drones, and I think I read somewhere, don't quote me, we might be able to find it, but there was something about Iran ended up like having some kind of capabilities with Iran's with some drones, like they like hacked in. How interesting, I don't know, but this is why we need to make sure that America is leading in the AI front, because that is a new frontier and AI can be weaponized, and if we do not have access to it, it's the same thing as like a nuclear weapon. We
Mm,
needed access to the nuclear weapon first. Why?
yeah.
Because if adversaries that hate America and hate sovereignty had access to the nuclear weapon, we would not be here right now.
So true.
Not in this capacity anyway. So
Yeah.
it's important for us to make sure that we're, one, putting protections in place, and two, that we're leading the way in the efforts in obtaining that kind of hardware or information or coding or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And
So
I think
true.
I saw Tim Burchett posted, it was like, and they did it without FISA. Go figure.
Oh, I love Mr.
Because
Burchett.
that's coming up. That's
That's a great designation to say. Well, Allie, remember when we were talking about you and I were talking to somebody here locally about the chemtrails, and
Mhm.
we had passed legislation here in Florida to stop, like, the spraying of these chemicals. And then a month or so later, we were seeing more chemtrails. And
Yeah.
somebody said to us, yeah, but that's federal airspace up there.
Yep.
Like, the federal government's going to have to handle that. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So when we started the Space Force, I'm thinking in my mind, because that's like the next level of, I don't know, intergalactic, whatever. It's like Star Wars coming to the United States. I don't like
Sorry.
I know we need drones, and I've seen, like, our local law enforcement uses them at like protests and stuff, but
And
in
even
the
now,
wrong hands.
Amazon
Mm.
uses drones to drop off like
Really?
packages now. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And
Amazon.
so it's interesting. I just, again, we have one of the biggest assets here. Elon Musk has now become a trillionaire, and he is putting a lot of our space advancements are through the private sector, so they're
Yeah.
not privy to FOIA requests. But as long as he is, I guess, a friend of the president or the president's administration,
Yeah.
then we might be able to be privy to what they're doing. Because what do you do when you have friendships? You kind of leverage them a little bit to your benefit. So I don't know. It's just, we'll see what happens with that. I like that you say intergalactic. I think it's like 50, maybe 150 years.
Buzz
They'll be having,
Lightyear will come in peace. Like, I didn't, you know what I mean? But you never know. And Allie, like, we've known that this is kind of where, I mean, people know this is where warfare is even going, where you don't even have manned aircrafts anymore. But it wasn't that long ago. It was I think during the election, right before the election in 2024, when we had these drones mysteriously showing up in New Jersey and all these sightings. And I'm talking clusters of drones, and people were commenting and taking videos and pictures. What's that? What's that? And Trump made just an off the cuff comment like, why doesn't the government tell you what it is? And why doesn't it fly over Florida? Because we'd shoot that stuff down. But it makes you wonder, like, you can't tell me our adversaries aren't out there like with a joystick, like trying to.
who knows? Honestly,
Maybe I don't want to know. Let's be
who
honest.
knows at this point.
Yeah.
And I would much rather have us have that capability than to have an adversary have that capability. We are one of two nations that only support sovereignty. And the second one doesn't really do it all that great. I mean, we don't do it all that great either, but I think we're better than the first one. You know what I'm saying? I think we're better than the other one.
Better than second place. Okay, but be honest, guys, and I want to hear your comment too below. If some stuff was going down with some drones, would you want to know? Like, do you want to know?
I mean, do you want to know what's going on in space?
You do?
I mean, clearly, with all of these new, like, there's 4 different kinds of like
What if
humanoid.
you can't do anything about it, Allie? Like, what if it's like You want to know?
Yeah, don't lie to me.
I'm saying like Independence Day. You want to know? Think of, oh my God, what was that show, that movie 2012, where it was like the major earthquake that like never happened in California, but they saw the detection of it and they're like, do we tell people? Or like the
The Don't Look Up
meteor
movie?
crashing towards Earth. Do you want to
What
know?
about that one? The Don't Look Up movie?
Oh my
Have you
God.
seen that one? Don't
I
Look
have
Up?
not. Oh my God,
Oh my
where's
God.
that?
Yeah, it's so funny. Don't Look Up is a good movie. And it's literally like there's a doctor and a politician that go on TV and they talk about what is going on. And everyone's like, no, that's not happening. We
Oh,
are fine. Yeah, it was really weird. It's a weird movie because it like was so reminiscent.
classic avoidant. Yeah.
Yep, it was so reminiscent of 2020, and I'm like, this is
We know a few
wild.
people like that.
Absolutely wild. I don't even know.
Not
I
gonna
don't
say
even
anything.
know.
Well, this also, first of all, look at that. Look at that good looking family. But did you know that there was so hold on, let me go back because I actually want to be able to read this to y'all. 3 suspects identified in a plot to target the White House UFC event. These are the names: Brian Roa, Michael Thomas. They were arrested in California, but there's also been one, Tyson Proper, who was arrested in Ohio for a bomb threat. So they were targeting. This is happening all during, the celebrations. It's amazing that these are the people that are behind the scenes trying to fight this between our intelligence community and Secret Service. I don't think we had any idea. I thought of this during the event, like, how is this safe? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like the biggest block party ever.
But it would have been it. I think that was the safest place to be in DC, was at the UFC event, because of how many first responders were and police officers and sheriffs and all that were at the event. I know that they planned for this. This was definitely a high security situation, so they needed to make sure that it was a safe area because we had so many high profile people there. So not just high profile, but the president of the United States, who has been shot
and shot at multiple times
and shot at. So there's a bunch of crazies, but again, it is what post UFC day 3-4. We still, there's no streets burned down, there's no cars that have been kicked in, no police officers injured. Like, the city is still the city. It hasn't been burned down. There's no one hanging from, or jumping on, light poles and crashing and just property. And it was a win for America. So we do things the right way. Yeah.
Makes you wonder though, too, Allie, when Trump talks about this ballroom and some of the security features that he, tied into the ballroom that he's building there at the White House. Not just for him, right? For everybody that comes after him. He's saying, listen, we might want to be a little more secure in how we engage with inviting dignitaries here and other foreign leaders, and even just our president. The last time he went and rented a ballroom, there were shots fired. Like, maybe we are all right on target with the construction of this ballroom. Of course, the left came out and had the stupid the asinine talking point that it was staged for that reason. And you can't fix stupid with duct tape.
Convince people that are committed to misunderstanding you.
That's good.
You just can't. And at some point, you have to not care about what people think. And I think that, honestly, I'll be honest, that's hard. That is hard. Yeah. Especially when, you grow up in certain environments and it's really about that. And that's hard to kind of let go of. But I think if you are going to be in the political arena or in the public eye, that is something that you kind of have to deal with, is public perception.
Yeah. Get that thick skin. Well, you and I were put through some type of training camp early on when we started to get really a little more into like the parents' rights movement, because we were both parts of organizations, groups, friends that were called out under the Biden administration as potential domestic terrorists. Let's just say it. I mean, I've been called you have too, white supremacist, national, white Christian nationalist, Nazi. That was spray painted on my sign when I ran in 2024. Lovely. There's also a B word, which I didn't think we were being derogatory towards women, but I guess we are now. I can't ever keep up. We were put through like this testing of fire, but one of the organizations that was at the helm of all of this was the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center. So, what are your feelings about some of what's coming out now about the Southern Poverty Law Center? Can't imagine how you feel.
Oof. Well,
Manufacturing hate. Thank you, Kevin Smith.
yes, let's listen, and then I'll give commentary.
Okay, perfect.
Good afternoon. Today, a few minutes ago, in the Middle District of Alabama, a grand jury returned an 11-count indictment charging the Southern Poverty Law Center with 6 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of bank fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. According to the charges in the indictment, the SPLC is a nonprofit entity that purports to fight white supremacy and racial hatred by reporting on extremist groups and conducting research to inform law enforcement groups with the goal of dismantling these groups. As the indictment describes, the SPLC was not dismantling these groups. It was instead manufacturing the extremism it purports to oppose by paying sources to stoke racial hatred. The indictment describes this conduct in detail, but one troubling example is that the SPLC was paying a member of the leadership group that planned the Unite the Right protest in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017 that resulted in the death of 1 person and injured dozens more. This particular person being paid by the SPLC allegedly received approximately $270,000 over the course of 8 years.
Wow.
According to the indictment, between 2014 and 2023, SPLC paid at least $3 million to 8 individuals at least. These individuals were affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan, United Klans of America, National Socialist Movement, Aryan Nations Affiliated Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club, the Nationalist Socialist Party of America, Nazis, and the American Front. Now, as the indictment lays out, after SPLC paid members of these extremist groups, it created work product that reported on these activities that the members participated in or contributed to. And to that end, it was doing the exact opposite of what it's told its donors it was doing.
Wow. Okay, so that is why I'm wearing my Moms for America shirt. Okay, because Moms for America was on the SPLC's hate watch list or hate map or whatever it's called.
Yes.
Charlie Kirk was on there. A few of our friends were on there because
Liberty was on there.
Yes, Moms for Liberty, of course, was on there because they were like Moms for America. They didn't want our kids learning smut in our schools. I mean, it's craziness. Now, mind you, you get around some low IQ folks who don't really understand politics and don't have, the ability to argue policy will go, well, look at your own bedroom. But first of all, nobody's trying to push smut children, maybe just adults. Okay. And we're grown and we can do that. I'm just saying. So that should not, equate you to be on a hate map. I'm just saying this is quite insane that they've spent, what was it, $3 million? $1
million.
My gosh, $3
that
million.
has gone to. So think about when they send people like AOC or whoever out to say that white supremacy is the #1 problem in this country, and we're all like engaged in this world in this country, and we're looking around like, what world does she live in? I'm not saying that we're perfect as people or as a country, but that is not the #1 problem plaguing this country. She's trying to be out front, pushing that narrative while they're behind the scenes spending millions of dollars to fabricate that. It's like it's like real life Hollywood.
No, for sure. It's almost
show. That's what it feels like.
Equivalent to the Russia hoax. I mean, I'm not shocked, y'all. Like, I literally, yes, we knew that. Like that,
all the time.
threading the needle. I'm just saying, it's the same playbook.
They have no new ideas. COVID.
It's the same playbook.
COVID. They were cooking it. And
Yep.
it leaked.
And then they paid for all of the advertising and all of the fear porn. And then they paid for the cure, quote, unquote. That was worse than what they cooked up.
Why
So
are they cooking anyway? Exactly. This is
Exactly.
Allie. It makes you wonder, guys, if you're not asking the question right now, what would our world look like if we did not actively have these crazy people throwing millions of dollars at creating problems? What would our world look like?
we might actually be able to get some things done that are beneficial for the American people instead of dividing them to hate each other falsely.
Yeah.
It's like it's a concocted narrative. It's not true. Yes, there are people that are out there that are demented and have these like
Absolutely.
viewpoints, obviously,
Absolutely.
or they wouldn't be paid, right? They wouldn't be wanting to be part of these groups. However, if they're not paid, which is a reinforcement of behavior, if
Yeah.
the bad behavior is not reinforced through monetary means or through political access,
There's not an
or
opportunity there. Yeah.
right, exactly, there's no opportunity. So if you remove the opportunity for that, then it will have much of a more peaceful, I believe, area, a peaceful country, and I think we'll be able to get a whole lot more done than what we aim to.
So it looks like USAID was literally just the tip of the iceberg. This was the mountain mammoth thing that was underneath the water and that you couldn't see, but that we knew. We knew. And this is the thing, American people, public, we need to be good about trusting our instinct. Because how many times, Allie, did we watch this stuff go down and we're like, that doesn't even look organic. How did y'all get printed signs? Like, what sign shop do y'all own that you get all your signs printed, all your t-shirts? You can't get your Amazon package on time, but they have all their supplies on pallets. Like, you can't feed the homeless or help the veterans, but you can make sure that frozen water bottles and bricks end up delivered in the middle of an intersection. Like, how, like, what?
Insane. It is insanity.
Like the building supplies for a short time. Remember that during 2024, but you can get a pile of bricks in the middle of an intersection if you promise to throw them at a police station. It's stupid.
Right. Like, how did that make sense? Could buy a bike at $50. They went up $300. But yeah, like COVID wasn't going to get you if you were at a BLM rally. Just
couldn't buy toilet paper during COVID, but bottled water on a pallet. Go ahead. We knew.
N95 masks are now available, and these like gas masks are now available at your local Antifa rally, paid for by no one. Just randomly just appeared because it's a video game, apparently. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
they just run out of nowhere. It is wild. Yes, largely funded, and clearly through the SPLC. I wonder if they've have any connections with Antifa, what's going on with that. I think they need to continue to dig deeper and figure out, and just continue to be transparent with the American people. You may not like the truth,
right?
But once the truth is out and it's revealed, it is what it is, and then we can begin to heal. Isn't that what the left is always saying? Once we understand the truth, we can begin to heal. Okay, well then let's put our healing bandages on and let's heal.
That, or Nancy Pelosi's favorite coined term, we need to pass the bill to find out what's in it.
Let's be unburdened by what has been. Okay, SPLC. Let's be unburdened by what has been, and let's do it. Let's move on.
Well,
you're going to pay for it. Like we can't pay for hate.
I'm going to continue to chisel away at that block that says we were right again. Get you a conspiracy theorist friend. It's not conspiracy. It's truth. Truth. We know what's been going on. Just like we have been saying here on this show, people have been, what do you think about Trump and the Middle East policies? And you can feel however you want to feel about it. But, he said he was going to make life more affordable for the middle class. And yet look at what's happening to our oil prices. It must be what's happening in Iran. And I'm like, no. If you check the price if you check our strategic oil supply that we have here in this country, I mean, we're literally selling oil to Japan and China.
Yeah.
So we're like the number one seller of oil now is the United States of America, courtesy of what we bought back from Venezuela. But yet oil here in this country, or for gas, is the price has gone up for a while. And Allie, you and I have said that's not because we don't have reserves or we don't have the stockpile. It's because you've got OPEC that wants to come in and like set all these prices
market value, right?
Thank you.
Same thing with not Tyson's, with what you call it? Who is that? Oh my gosh.
Oh, the Federal Reserve.
No, it's on the
Oh.
tip of my tongue. We talk about it all the time. To save our bacon. Smithfield.
Smithfield.
Trying to do the
We're
same
so
thing.
traumatized. We can't say it.
They're trying to come in and they're
Mhm.
trying to say things. They're trying to set market value for the American people. Flat blanket. Like, why are we, if we're fighting it against in our food industry, we're fighting it against in other industries, why are we not fighting it in our oil and gas industry? Like, that
So
doesn't
true.
make any sense.
Well, I love this. Benny Johnson gives us a great visual on the
Love it.
oil prices now collapsing. The stock market recovers. Take a listen.
Because President Trump just signed a historic peace deal with Iran. And if that peace deal is having an immediate effect, because President Trump says the Strait of Hormuz is now open, well, I'll give you this. The price of oil right now. Timber! Just an absolute skyrocket, collapse towards the center of the earth. Look at this, like a missile heading straight to the magma at the center of the planet. You can see here the oil futures right now collapsing 77 US dollars, just a couple dollars away from $2 gasoline. The look at that. Did you just see that happen in real time? Did you just see that happen in real time? It went from 77 to 74 as we are recording live right now.
I mean, there you have it, guys. Like we were saying that this is not it. They're using what was happening in the Middle East to try to, I mean, anybody else that does this, like in your state or in your county, it's called price gouging.
It's price gouging. Why are we not calling it out?
You can do whatever you want.
Calling it out? Oh, you want to know why we're not calling it out? Because oil and gas spend a lot of money in lobbying to our Congress. That's why. Now, what out lobbies them is pharma. Pharma outspends big oil and gas 2 to 1. So they spend twice as much money as oil and gas, but oil and gas is still leading like top 3 of what they spend, right? For lobbying on the Hill. So of course, no one is going to be talking about this, but here on Out of Pocket, you will hear us speak about it because I'm beholden to nobody but the Lord,
absolutely,
Savior Jesus Christ. So it is OPEC, and they are trying to set market value, and that's fine. That's fine.
Well,
but we don't.
But here's the thing: everywhere else in our country, because we believe in a free market, capitalistic society, right? Mm-hmm. So everywhere else, every other industry, the way the prices get set is by supply and demand. Mm-hmm. You just like we love our government to be a republic because we want to be able to have representatives who represent us that we elect. We like our markets to be capitalistic and to know that we kind of control the supply and demand. You can't, you don't have, if you have 4 hotels all sharing an intersection, they are monitoring every day, every 20 minutes. I used to work in the hotel industry. They're monitoring what the prices are of their competitors and they're adjusting and ebbing and flowing. Car dealerships do the same thing. There are every mom and pop shop does this. Even some gas stations, you'll see that happen. It'll come down on this one, then it'll come down here. What OPEC does, in my opinion, and this is an unelected group of people that play God with this. And it's no different than the Federal Reserve. Up until recently, when the Supreme Court decided that Trump does have the ability to fire people that are in leadership in the Federal Reserve. You don't want this unelected bureaucracy to be able to set your oil prices and to be able to set your interest rates for your homes. Like they just have to not like the president or whoever's elected right now, and they can make your life, the American people, living hell. And that's what they tried to do under the Trump administration.
It's so awful. They want President Trump to fail at what he's doing. Ask yourself why. Apparently, we've talked about this a lot on the show, is they want America to be a third world country. Otherwise, why import the third world? The third world doesn't understand the first world. They don't understand sovereignty. They don't understand constitutionality. They don't understand God-given rights. They don't get it. And they don't love this nation. They come here and they destroy everything. or they want things to be what
Right.
they want it to be instead of how it already is.
And
They refuse
assimilating.
to assimilate.
Yeah.
And so that is what they want. These powers to be want to be the end all be all in control. They want to be God, government, and jury. That's what they want.
Yes,
So
you're
we
right.
can't have that. And when you push back a little bit, yeah, you're up against billions of dollars, but still fight, right? That's why we
Right.
still have free speech. That's why we have all of the other amendments and God-given rights that we are given
Yeah.
and protected through our Constitution, because the Constitution doesn't grant it. It just
No,
provides a protection or a
absolutely.
blueprint for our government in which those who we have given our consent to be governed by. So
Right.
it's wild, and
Shirley,
needs
you
to
know,
driving me nuts.
the gremlins.
It is.
Gremlins. You know, when I saw that graph that that oh, you have a mogwai. Oh my god, I love him.
He's so cute.
Where did you
But-
get it?
I don't know. I think I got it for Elena a couple years ago. We saw it somewhere.
I bought one. My
I'm trying
birthday
to figure out like how this was possible. So when I saw it, I had to buy it. Because it's so cute.
It's just so cute. I just a baby.
But don't feed them after midnight. They turn into
No. Because then they end up screwing up the internet and the microphones, and they become gremlins. And even though they're MAGA gremlins, they're still gremlins. But Allie, when I saw that graph on Benny Johnson's show, like
Mhm,
strategically
mhm.
just drop, right? Because you
Vomit.
can't use the Iran deal anymore as something that's causing it. It reminded me of the opposite effect in LA County and during the 2020 election, when all of a sudden, like, all the ballots were for Biden or all the ballots were for whoever. It's the same opposite effect. But that there were people, it was changing in real time while he was on his show. But it's good news to the American people. You're going to see those gas prices coming down. And I think to what extent Trump and his administration they do try to put pressure on these organizations like OPEC to, I don't know, be fair.
Mhm.
To be fair, guys, we get a lot of asks, at least, you know, especially when I'm out and about. How can we support your show? What can we do to help you guys? Well, as the Out of Pocket ladies are looking at different avenues. If you've got a Patriot-owned business and you would like us to partner with you, you can definitely reach out to us on all social media platforms at Out of Pocket Live. Please, those DMs we will take, right, ma'am?
Yes, those will take.
But
Hey,
also,
how are you and what are you doing? I will not answer.
and requests for feet pic. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. But Liberty Cigars is a wonderful patriotic American-owned company. You can definitely get your Liberty Cigars and use promo code Open Mic. You're going to save 10%. Plus, you're going to let them know that the out-of-pocket ladies are the reasons why you were sent there. Allie, so much I can think about to be able to celebrate coming up. You guys have the 4th of July, which is America 250. You have my birthday, which, I mean, why don't you want to celebrate my birthday with a cigar? I don't know why you wouldn't.
All right. I mean, July 4th, the Independence, 250th Independence celebration of our nation is right around the corner, you guys. It is right around the corner. You have to have something to celebrate. I mean, if it's not going to be American whiskey, then at least let it be American cigars.
Ooh, American whiskey and
Mhm.
cigars. I mean, and then I even think, you know, you've got, this is a great gift. You've got Father's Day, although don't quote me. I don't know if we're early enough to be able to place your order and get it by Father's Day. Probably not at this point, but you know, think about this stuff in advance. You've got Father's Days, you've got birthdays, you've got, I know some teachers right now that are like back to school, or they want to celebrate summer, you know, because they're out of school. Whatever whatever you're celebrating, it's a great company to be able to support.
Absolutely. John and Elizabeth Adams are amazing. They
Not
always
the
email
founding fathers, but the
No.
actual.
owners of Liberty Cigars are fantastic, guys. So please
Mhm.
give them a look, give them a shout, follow them on social, and take a look at their website. If it's not something for you, something that you're not interested in, maybe somebody else in your life would be. It's a great way to support your open mic and out of pocket ladies, because we are just crazy and out of pocket, and that's fine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, we are going to moving into our second half hour. Allie, we've not let the COVID thing fall
Oh,
on your ears.
Lord.
We're going to keep
And
talking
everyone
about
is like, let it go. We're like, absolutely.
When
BS
I-
that. We're not
when
letting
I
it go.
tell you, the entire school board, like their whole agenda changed because when you hold people responsible for what they did under COVID, and I even see some churches that we know that are doing a really good job of this, that refuse to close, that refuse to mask and cut a slit so they could still sing. Like it was crazy. We have to, it's like we're giving our country a report card. And we miserably failed in 21 and 22.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to talk about that. Otherwise, every time you go into another parent teacher conference, you should be like, I don't want to hear about it. It's history. No, we should be able to talk about it. This is a huge
Wait.
victory.
Let's not talk about COVID and the failures of our government with COVID, but let's talk about slavery and the failures of our country when it came to slavery. Like, if we did the same thing,
Yeah.
when it came to that, everybody would be calling us racist and, Nazis. I mean, they call us that anyway, but
Yep.
my gosh, there's no difference.
There's no difference. Well,
It's
you're
a
right.
blemish on our history. So we
Stain,
either talk
absolutely.
about all of it, we talk about all of it, or we don't talk about any of it and lose it.
Well, Allie, this is Lisa Domsky. She's a Catholic woman who spent 3 decades with the company that she was with. She argued that vaccines were a conflict to her beliefs due to the connection of what we now know, fetal
Yep.
cell lines associated with the abortion research. She
Yep.
was fully remote. She's like the 5th person that I've heard of recently that was fully remote during COVID. Think about that, you guys. They don't leave their freaking house. She was a remote IT specialist. Her request for a religious exemption was denied, and she was terminated in 2022. Who was she working for? Blue Cross Blue Shield. So the jury, a jury realized that they voted that they violated her federal religious discrimination laws. The ruling is now being reviewed. It'll be reviewed and possibly appealed. But she's being awarded, guys, drum roll, $12.6 million from her former employer, Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Wow. See, and I think this is the problem, right? I think this is why these vaccine manufacturers want blanket immunity from liability. Because at how much is it? 12 point what?
$12.6 million.
$12.6 million for a company that forced her to have the vaccine, not the manufacturer. Can you imagine if everyone that has been injured and can prove it and was forced to take it, these people will be billionaires, because $12.6 million for the company that forced you to take it, your job forcing you to take it, and the manufacturer that made it, that's a large sum, especially when it comes to every individual that has done it. They will be bankrupt. Like, that is bankrupting.
But that's right where you need to hit them, because it's the one thing that businesses and organizations and even big pharma, it's the one thing that they understand is their wallet. And as people that were told in the parents' rights movement and in education and all the things, even you representing veterans, as people that were constantly told we had no right to reject this, whether it was the masking or the standing 6 feet apart or the shot, the Fauci ouchie, we refused it. And we were told we didn't even have the right to. And even you look at her under this religious exemption, there were people who wanted religious exemptions in our schools, and they were kind of brushed over too. So I think this sets like a precedence, right? Like
it does. And they better watch out, because there are people that are coming for them now. Like, this now sets precedent that you have federal protections against religious discrimination. And there you go. No, because that doesn't align well with the Constitution. So yes. Anyway, that we have protections against religious discrimination, and you should be able to use that. And you could also sue through, what is it? I believe it would be civil rights. The Civil Rights Act.
so many people,
so many different things.
So many
Some
people
people
tried to say this was not a civil right, that your blood is not a civil, that doesn't follow under civil rights. Skin color, yes. The blood that runs through your veins, not so much.
Yeah.
And I don't get that either. I mean,
Not accurate.
it sounds like the same people that think it's a good idea to fund the KKK. That's what it sounds like. It's the same ideology, just doesn't work. Allie, our dearly beloved Nick Shirley, guys, do you have family and friends in Illinois? You might want to get ready. Nick Shirley has just arrived. He's just arrived in Illinois to expose fraud in the state. It's like when you live here in Florida, and who's that guy from the Weather Channel that they're like, when he shows up, you know the hurricane's coming your direction.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Something Cantori.
Yep, Cantori.
If
he shows up during hurricane season, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
You better start getting that generator together, because this is just going to get crazy. Or not, because sometimes he's been wrong. But Nick Shirley has not faltered, not once. Yes. He literally has legislation that is, currently being passed in committee in California against him finding fraud, not against the fraud, against him finding it, which is wild. So
not for the people who committed the fraud,
right,
for the person who uncovered the fraud.
Finding it, right. And I think every state is doing this in their own way, not necessarily through the way that Nick Shirley is doing it, but he is making it is great. I'm so glad that he is doing it. I think he should get the Medal of Honor or something. He deserves some kind of Pulitzer Prize or medal or something for his efforts here.
And keep in mind that this is the state of Illinois, guys, that spent, I think, 2.3 or 2.5 billion with a B dollars on those that are here criminally illegally here in their state. And yet, against the people who lived in the state, these people that live in the state wanted to give their tax dollars and tax breaks to keep certain sports teams like the Chicago Bears to be able to be viable and stay put right where they were in Chicago. He said, along with the state and the city, that we don't have the money to give any kind of tax breaks to sports teams, but they have $2.5 billion to flood your state with a bunch of illegals who are here criminally. God rest your soul, because Nick Shirley is there to expose it, and Pritzker's he's probably gonna need a breathing treatment.
We're gonna figure out where all that waste is at. Waste, theft, and fraud. It's amazing. We have Blazing Goglia here in Florida that's doing the same thing. Financial oversight of fiscal accountability. Financial oversight, whatever. Y'all know what I'm saying. It's FAFO. Okay. Y'all get it. Okay. There's acronyms.
There's so many acronyms.
So many. But yes, he's actually doing it, and he's found billions of dollars, and his office is arresting folks for actually committing the fraud. I don't know necessarily about whether or not it's elected representatives, although he has hinted that would be a stopgap. But we have to figure out how to do that. We'd have to have a really strong AG, which I think we do. But I think they kind of give a little bit of leniency towards the elected. But some of them are doubling down, which is really weird. It's really weird.
Yeah,
so
it is. Well, and so I guess right on target here, guys. We'll just keep talking about the illegal migrants that cross the southern border openly under the Biden administration. JD Vance visited the set of The View. So, Whoopi and
The View from the trash can.
Joy Behar, all the ladies. Allie, when you sent some of these to me, there's a couple of things that just struck me, but I want our viewers to be able to watch this. The first question that they are talking to about is, where's the evidence that anybody that they were emptying out insane asylums and their prisons and sending them into the United States? Take a listen.
Mentally, that one of the things I underappreciated about Donald Trump is that so many of the things that people said about him weren't actually true. Again, you talk about humility. Okay, so I see Donald Trump, I see a clip of him, or I see not even a clip of him, but reporting about something that he said, and I take it at face value. For example, let's just go back to one of the most controversial things Donald Trump said during the first term that I was wrong during the first campaign, is that I was led to believe by the stories. I read stories that said Donald Trump said that all Mexicans were rapists. He never said that. What he
Some
said,
technical difficulties here.
is the certain South American countries, Central American countries were releasing criminals into our country, including Mexico. By the way, that was objectively true. So
There
it's
is
not
no
so much
evidence of
Christians.
that.
Oh,
Fidel Castro did that in 1980
All
with
right,
the
guys, looks like we're having some technical difficulties right
many
now. I don't know
journalists,
if you can hear
including
me.
CNN, where you used to work and be my colleague, that have tried to find evidence of that. There is no evidence that Maduro was releasing people from insane asylums or jails like Fidel Castro did do. This was made up, and we just can't, accept it without pushing back.
Anna, we know that there were people who were released from prisons who were encouraged to come into the United States.
It wasn't like it was in the Mariel, Mr. Vice President. It wasn't where it was like a purposeful release, open up the jails, open up the insane asylums, and let people flood Florida. I've been through that in Miami.
If you go, it may not have been like Mariel, but if you go back to the caravans that were happening in 22, 23, we know that those things were funded. They were in some ways supported by the government.
There was absolutely
So I don't know
no,
how you
not
define support or not support, but if people are encouraged to come into our country after having spent time in prison by their own governments, I think that's a problem.
And that's what she's saying. So it's funny when she's talking about Muriel, our country did absolutely nothing when that happened. We did absolutely nothing. We didn't close our border. We didn't send people back when Castro released people from literally insane asylums. What I don't appreciate here is first of all, they don't give him a chance to talk, probably because it's a panel full of women. But what I don't appreciate is that what he's saying is we've had Venezuela, Cuba, Mexico. There's another one there. Hold on. Yes. Oh, violent. What they would do is they would take the cartels, the coyotes would go and park their whatever that they use, buses, whatever. They would empty out into their prisons into these buses, ship them into the middle of Mexico, where they would then walk on foot across the border. And they're trying to say there's no account for that. I watched people from Real America's Voice be on the ground through the name escapes me, the gap down there. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, but I can't remember the name either.
Right outside of Panama. That watched it.
Yep.
And they were interviewing them and they were like, hey, it was like a monopoly, get out of jail free and come to the United States. Like that.
This is what happens when you have media that say it again.
Darien Gap.
Yes, that's what it is. This is what happens though when you have media that is not responsible to telling the truth to the American people, and they're allowed to lie to you and allowed to propagandize. And so, of course, the ladies that live in Beverly Hills or Los Angeles are not going to hear about what is going on. Or, for example, in Miami, because we were largely told that this wasn't a problem by almost every sheriff in Florida.
Yeah.
And now we have led the way in the most deportations in the nation. So I'm a little baffled by this. But at the same time, there is evidence out there. You just have to want to find it. And so I know we were having a little bit of technical difficulties. I don't know if you got it on your side. I definitely got it on mine. So I don't know if it happened for all of you. So maybe just, Michelle, give them a little bit of a recap. And then we can move on to the next video.
Maybe it was frozen a little bit. I didn't see that on my side. Sorry. So what JD Vance is saying, and I love how he started off this conversation. He said, listen, I was one of the ones who picked up a paper, opened up social media, turned on CNBC, and I heard the reports that Trump had said that Mexicans are just rapists and murderers. And JD Vance had an issue with that. He said, but what we found when we went back and looked at the stories is he never actually said that. That's the way it was reported. And that's why you have the lamestream media that can't report anything factually or do any ounce of journalism integrity. They have none. But what he did say is that when you go back and you look at the facts, and again, JD Vance, as one of the top 3 in the administration, gets briefings that you and I could only hope to have. And I'm telling you, this is why they made cartels a terrorist organization, because they were very well aware that the cartels were helping to bring MS-13 and everybody else in their prisons and mental institutions. Just walk down the street of any major U.S. city and tell me that we don't have a major pandemic beyond what we once had even before COVID, because they've let them into our country. We're now trying to fragment and try to, empty them back out of our country. But he did not say it was Mexicans that were rapists. But if you can say that rapists and murderers are being emptied in to central Mexico and coming across the border, because that is what's happening. And if you're here legally as a Mexican American, as my descendants are, it should equally piss you off that people are coming from other countries that are criminal and landing. First of all, asylum is where your foot first lands outside of your country. So if you're trekking here across the Darien Gap, you've stepped in Panama, you've stepped in a lot of other areas before you came to Texas. That's where you claim asylum, not at our southern border. You know what? It pisses me off.
I feel you. No, it makes me mad too.
Because I was mad at JD Vance during this. I was like, why is but do you see how he admits he's wrong?
Yep. And I like that. I like that about him. If you can't admit when you're wrong, there's no room for reconciliation. And I think that is what has happened when President Trump has decided to make him vice president. And I think the American people agreed when we voted for President Trump, largely.
Yes. And you're right. And the other part, the other one you sent me here with that I love, I want our viewers to see, he was trying to get them to just say, can we just agree that we need secure borders? And it was like pulling teeth. But let's see if we can get, it's about a minute and a half. Let's take a listen.
In immigrants, we take in people who don't have or who are having a hard time. How do you justify both things?
So let me say first a couple things, Whoopi. So number one, the book is actually way less political than you might think if you were just watching this, because obviously we're getting into the issues of the day. 95% of the book is really not about politics. I kind of have to write about politics because I'm the vice president, but I want to answer your question. So fundamentally, if you think about what is immigration enforcement, immigration is law enforcement. It's somebody who has broken a law. A law enforcement officer has to show up and enforce that law. Now, inherently, sometimes that process is not always going to be pretty if you capture a video clip of it, in the same way that if you arrest somebody for committing a violent or a nonviolent crime, sometimes it's not always pretty. What I'm saying is the Catholic faith is actually I think it strikes the right balance here. It says the Christian faith, I think this is true of Protestants and Catholics, that you can have borders. You're allowed to enforce your borders. That means the law enforcement piece of it. But you also have to take certain precautions and certain care. Okay. And again, your argument is fundamentally, Whoopi, you're saying that we don't strike the right balance. I disagree with you about how we apply that, but nobody hopefully is saying we're not allowed to have a border. What I'm saying is that in order for us to actually enforce the law, you can't set a standard that says you're not allowed to deport anyone unless they've committed a violent crime. You've got to enforce the law equally.
Okay, well, they couldn't wait to interrupt him, which is, I'm doing you all a justice by stopping it there.
I can't watch the show because they're not listening to listen. They're not listening to understand. They're listening to respond. And they think that they know more than the vice president, who gets briefed daily on things that they don't have access or privilege to have access to because they don't have a clearance high enough. So ladies, your Monday morning quarterbacking, how about you shut up and listen to the man who has been in the room, is in the room, and helps make those decisions.
That's a great analysis there, Allie, because think about it, guys. If you could spend 30 minutes with the vice president of the United States, I'm going to say, listen, you want to laugh? Even if it was under the former administration, if I could spend 30 minutes with Kamala Harris, think about the amount of information or the drinks you may need to have afterwards, but the amount of information that you can garner from them. I mean, they'd never allow it under the Biden administration because, they don't have talking points. But if I could sit with the vice president of the United States, any vice president, Democrat or Republican, wouldn't you want to? And wouldn't you understand that's why you have two ears and one mouth? Because here you're sitting with the vice president of the free world. Do you not want to actually listen?
It is a privilege. It is a very I don't even want to say a privilege. It is a very unique opportunity to sit in front of the vice president and have a conversation. You don't berate the guy and you let him finish talking. This is literally why Donald Trump got up in the middle. Allowing him to speak. So there you have it.
Yeah, I like that, Allie. That's exactly why he got up, and that's why he left many interviews because we even do this. Like we even instruct people. Like sometimes you feed the trolls on social media, sometimes you don't. Sometimes, but when you're in one of those debates,
This
and
internet today.
is it lagging? Are you good? Hello. Are you
I
good?
think so.
We're back. Okay. We're
Yeah.
Gremlins. Where's the Mogwai? Is he still good?
Oh, good. I don't know what's happening. It's just he's just hanging out here in my little corner.
Right. Okay. Just making sure he's good. Don't be turning into an extra gremlin. We apologize for the technical issues, guys. There's a lot of things that contribute to that, Allie. Our former show, Open Mic, would get throttled a lot based on what we're talking about. Oh, he's too cute. Well, I want to get to one more, guys. We got time for one more clip here. Again, JD Vance being a much bigger person than me by sitting across from some of these women on The View. He's talking here about what we talk about all the time with the mandate that the people gave in 2024 when we resoundingly voted for Trump. Take a listen.
I think it's ultimately up to the voters, right? I think voters have every right to expect as much as possible out of their elected representatives. We certainly know that we were elected on a number of mandates. One was to close the border, which I think we've done successfully, exceeded expectations there. Number two was to lower prices, and there's a lot of work to do, in large part because of what's happened over the last few months in the Middle East. But as you said, oil, which got up to $120 a barrel, now is at $80 a barrel. That's going to be reflected in lower fuel, lower food, lower energy prices. But there's a lot more work to do. The thing that I'm proudest about most, because as some of you may know, I grew up in one of these towns that was forgotten by the leaders in Washington of both parties, is that you're seeing, that's Middletown, Ohio. That's my hometown in southwestern Ohio. It was a proud steel town. I was raised by a grandfather who was a union steel worker, is that those jobs disappeared. Those factories closed down. The thing that I'm most excited about is you do see a large amount of capital investment coming into our country. Factories being built, construction jobs are way up, manufacturing jobs are starting to catch up. So there's a lot more work to do. I think that we're making progress, but ultimately we're going to make our pitch to the voters in November, and they're the ones who get to decide whether we've done a good job or not, and that's how they're going to vote. Well, I think that's all.
And I think, Allie, here's what I love about this. As he is talking about the wins that are happening by bringing manufacturing, and I grew up in a town much like where he grew up. Our steel plant was the provider. Everybody, either your uncle, your mom, or your dad, somebody in your family worked there, and that's how you provided for your family. And thanks to Bill Clinton and the outsourcing of the steel industry to China, that's when it all started. It went under. It decimated our entire city. So I know what he's talking about, the excitement of bringing these manufacturing jobs back and seeing this capital investment in our country. But here's the part that nobody's ever talking about. Great. You bring industry back to this country. Who is going to fill those jobs? Because we have not done a great job in our school system, in our high school system, secondary education, or our colleges in getting people ready or even willing to want to work some of these industrial jobs. It's been preached, college, sports.
And a lot of them, college and sports, and being like social media influencers. Like that's largely, I'm so serious. That's what people want to do. And it's like, what? Wow. Okay, great. Again, this is why Mike Rowe was so adamant.
I love Mike Rowe
about the trade gap, and why we have even gubernatorial candidates talking about the trade gap and trying to fill that gap. And we have state legislators and the Department of Education, which is now dismantled, but is like trying to. It's there, but not really there. Not in its usual capacity. It's in a different capacity, operating differently. But they're also trying to invest and put more money into trades across the United States. It is something that is needed. Otherwise, we'll continue to do H-1Bs, and we don't need to do those anymore. We need to just stop that, right? Because there are able-bodied Americans that can fill these jobs.
That's right. And Allie, just for our viewers, make sure that if you've got young people that are at that age where they're starting to think about what they want to do out of high school, Pell Grants under the Trump administration are now going to be available. Pell Grants available for trade schools. This is going to include the medical community. This is going to include HVAC, all the different trades. So you can find out more at the whitehouse.gov. I think if you go under education, Pell Grants are just that, guys. They're a grant. You don't have to pay them back. And let's make sure that they're not only used for education, for secondary education now in higher education. There's something that you can use for the trade program. So kudos to the Trump administration for doing that. Allie, we're out of time.
I know. It's fine. We'll catch you guys here tomorrow, though. Bright and early, 10 a.m. We love you all so much. Thank you for spending your morning hour with us. Allie and Michelle with Out of Pocket. Make sure you stay out of pocket and keep that mic open, y'all.
We'll see you next time.
Two queens, no filter, say what they feel. Allie and Michelle keep it way too real.